One. I was doing a little countdown before we recorded, but it started in the middle of me. So I was like, let's just sing it. What's up, guys? This is the Restoring Childlike Innocence Building with Legos course. And the importance of this, funny enough, I made this the most affordable because I want the entire world to take these courses. Y'all can't afford leadership courses or even social media sales. Y'all can't tell me you can't afford a $14 inner healing soul course when the whole world needs to heal its soul. Because I don't know about y'all, but if the world had a healed soul, we wouldn't be dealing with some all these madness issues. Hold on, let me send. Okay, we wouldn't be dealing with all the madness and darkness and foolery and toxicity and narcissisticity and sociopathy and all this entities of foolishness if people healed. We wouldn't be dealing with mama trauma and baby daddy drama and all this stuff. Like, we wouldn't be dealing with this stuff if people healed. So if your parents didn't heal, chances are you had some healing work you had to do because you had to deal with your parents' junk. Or if their parents didn't heal, that's why your parents didn't heal. And it's like, when are we going to stop the cycle? And some of you may have kids and realize that maybe some of you have created a trauma in your kid's life by not healing, in the sense that you have been super strict, or you have not set boundaries, or you have not trusted in their dreams, or have not grown them according to their dreams because you were never cultivated according to your dream. I found out here in the Philippines, young adults are supposed to sacrifice their whole life to pay for their parents' living. Like, the young adult is not always allowed to like branch out and be a young adult and live on their own. It's like a custom to live with their family and support the family, and their paycheck always has to go towards the family. I'm like, that's cool and all, but then when does the person get to grow and be the fullness of them? So there's different cultures and things that it could be toxic. I think that's toxic. I think if all of your income is going towards like supporting your family, then you never get to really branch out and build your own family. And if you build your own family, then you always got mama in the house and you got your wife in the house, and mama and the wife in the same house is not a good house. That's a whole other story. All right. So as we talk about childlike innocence, we're going to do more of a meditation. We're going to do breathing work, and we're going to visualize, and we're going to start to see, we're going to begin to see ourselves through a different lens. Okay. Imagine yourself. So one of the biggest problems we have is that we don't breathe. So first I want to start off with deep breathing. So if you could just breathe into your nose, hold it 4 seconds, and then release it as if you're fogging up a windshield, like, okay? But in a slow, we're going to go 8 seconds. Okay? Breathe into your nose, hold 4 seconds, and we're going to do that 4 to 5 times. And then we're going to go into this meditation, okay? And I'm going to guide you guys through the meditation. And this is going to be a very powerful meditation of just returning to your childlike innocence by just having a great time once again. So just breathe. 1, 2, 3. Hold 4 seconds. Breathe out. Again, hold 4 seconds, breathe out. Keep going, breathe. Breathe. One more time. All right. Now that you're relaxed, now that you have breathed, I want you to visualize as you close your eyes, continue breathing, and visualize your best childhood memory. some of your best childhood memories, as if a movie was playing about the best childhood memories. Was it rollerblading? Was it times in the park? Was it when you discovered dinosaurs and it was the most exciting thing? Was it visits to the zoo? Was it Saturday mornings with cartoons? Was it the pajama time? Was it parties, little kid parties, birthday celebrations? Okay, as you're watching your inner child have the time of their life, I want you to introduce adult version to you and go up to your inner child. I want you to, right now in this moment, the present is meeting the past. And I want you at this moment to say, I'm sorry for dropping the dream. I want this to be a moment where you apologize. Whatever else you need to say, I'm sorry for not believing in you. I'm sorry that I've let you go. And now I want you to give your inner child a hug. Give that little boy, little girl a hug, a deep hug. And now you're going to hug them so tight that you literally become one, that their spirit goes into you. All right, open your eyes. Was that not euphoric? Oh man, it's so necessary. It's so necessary to go back and because realize this, your inner child forgave you already, but you needed to ask for forgiveness to that little boy or that little girl, because you did drop the ball, and I've dropped the ball, and I understood. And this past week I was singing the song, every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors fill my head, a million dreams are keeping me awake. I dream of what the world would be, a vision of the world I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. I cried and cried and cried as I listened to it on replay, and cried and cried and cried. Why? Because little Brandon wanted to be a singer so bad. But look at me. Now at 31, almost 32. I'll be 32 next month. Holla at your boy, January 16. You better get me a birthday present. Hello. All right, just letting you know. Nah, but honestly, I'm going to be 32. Yet at fourth grade, I had a passion for singing. We would have a talent show and I would sing and I would do a little dance. So that dance you saw me doing a reel on Instagram, I was doing like literally dances and singing in talent shows. Like I've been destined to be this singer, this performer since I was a child, since before I could even know what the lifestyle would be. There was a desire. And I honestly couldn't stop crying, because it wasn't just about like feeling sorry, but it's like, wow, like I'm going to do this. I am going to pursue this. And that's how I want you to get when you hugged that inner child. You made a covenant with your purpose, with your dream. And you said, we're going to do this. We don't know how, but we know why. And it's because we didn't choose it. You didn't choose your dream. Your dream chose you. We think we choose our career. Yeah, we choose the career path, but we don't really choose our desires. Our desires are placed in us. We didn't choose our purpose. Our purpose was placed in us. Now, I want to make this portion interactive, because I do want whoever catches the replay, whether they're a growth scholar or someone from social media that wanted to see this video, how can you be a kid this Christmas? Because I am gonna, this is my goal. I want to swim with whale sharks. I want to jump off cliffs, and I want to climb a mountain the week of Christmas, which are all like the things that I love. Like I love adventure, I love the ocean, and I love thrills, like jumping into the ocean. But how can you be a kid this Christmas? And I'll never forget Christmas for me. I used to sit, so this was probably illegal, but hey, it's okay. I'm grown now and I don't have this car anymore. But my family had an SUV, but we had so much family and stuff that one time I would sit in the back part of the SUV, like, you know, the part where you're supposed to put groceries. Well, I would be sitting there, and I was like maybe like 9 or something. And it was Christmas morning, I'll never forget. And I'm sitting in the back where there's like a window, and I'm waving to everybody, Merry Christmas. Like the innocence of just telling everybody Merry Christmas, like if I was Santa's elf or something. But it was just so much joy in Christmas. And I want you to tap into this, because you need to start planning it, as we are in December 2nd here in the Philippines, and it's December 1st, I think, for you guys still. Is it still? It's probably the 1st. I don't know. It's the 2nd. It's the 2nd for you guys. Okay. I want you guys to start tapping into that childlike innocence and finding a way beyond looking for gifts for other people. How can you gift your inner child by having a childlike joy experience? I had you guys do a visualization of what brought you joy. How can you reenact that as an adult? How can you just, like, Gazim, could you go play soccer on Christmas morning, or find some time in the week? Gazim, I'd love to hear you share how you can tap into Christmas. And I want you guys to brainstorm. And the reason I want you guys to interact with this is because whoever's watching this, I want them to be like, hey, that's something I could do too.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely being around nature, being around an open field. I think that's one thing. Maybe even live in New York, during the winter time where it's so cold, and go to a warm weather city like Miami or San Diego and maybe play soccer in the morning or afternoon. I think that will be something that will bring me so much joy, so I can be outside and enjoy the sun and enjoy the nature and green grass and all that. So that's definitely going to bring me more joy during the Christmas time, and I'm thinking of doing that.
I completely forgot you were in New York. So you're like, I'm not playing soccer on Christmas. It's too cold out there. But yes, I love that, man. And I love how you said, like, I'm going to go the extra mile to bring joy to my life. And it's not necessarily that you're escaping. You're going because you want to connect deeper with your joy. And that's the difference. There's a difference of like, oh, I'm going to leave this city because I just need a break. No, it's more like I'm going to be intentional and leave because I want to create the atmosphere that can set me up to do the things I love. So I love that. Thank you very much. Champion. All right, Marilyn in Chicago. I know you ain't going outside.
No, I'm not. No. Like for me, I'm obsessed with like Hallmark movies, like Christmas movies. I start watching them like in September. So like my inner child has always wanted to like run like a cabin, like the coziest cabin you can find, like in the mountains, looking at the snow. Like that would be perfect for me, for my inner child. But I mean, I have Chicago and I have the weather and I don't want it, which is weird. So I mean, I can maybe rent a cabin with the kids and go there for a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, so even if you gift yourself that cabin on Christmas, so you don't do it on, because I know Christmas is coming up soon, but you have it for February or January, but because you invested in it as a Christmas gift to yourself. And the importance of this, y'all, Christmas was very stressful for me the previous years. First of all, I lived in Miami, and I had like 20 family members living in the same city. So I had 20 Christmas presents to get. But then I was burnt out. So I was spending all this money on my family and everything, and I wasn't tapping into my inner child. And I started finding myself a little depressed on Christmas because I was lonely. I didn't have my boo thing. I had all these, and I was like, what is going on? And then I would find myself like in bad habits, and it was just like dark. Like Christmas started getting dark, and I didn't realize it was like I lost the joy of the Christmas present to myself. Like the original theme of Christmas was that God gave the gift of Jesus to the world. That's where the origination of Christmas is. So it's like, but what is the gift to us? Like, why are we always waiting on somebody to give us a good gift? And that's another thing. When you have all these expectation of the gifts you're going to get, and then you're like, I'm at the age where I'm getting socks. So I'm like, all right, let's go. Hey, I like socks, but I'm like, I got to get myself the best gift. So I want you guys to gift yourself, not just in something nice, like and stylish and whatnot, because you could do that anytime, but to gift yourself an experience for Christmas. Do you guys like that assignment? And the reason I want you to do it, I want you to start thinking it now, because you have a month to set it up. You have about 20 something days to set it up. But even just the fact that you're recognizing something that's going to bring your childlike joy. So Marilyn's probably, as you were a little girl, you've been wanting to stay in a cabin or do these things. So if you could get a staycation, even if it's one night that you guys sit around the campfire and create that experience, or even just find out where in Chicago can I do this, or where in Indiana, you're close to Indiana, or where can I go? Because you're in an area that you can go to different states that are not too far out that you can go and realize like, and guys, I said this, like, instead of investing in Christmas presents for other people, yes, you can love on them. But if this is the inner healing soul class, and if you're here, there's a reason why you're here. There's a reason why you're hearing this message. And it's because the soul still needs some healing, and especially this restoration of childlike healing. Like if you're not living at the fullness of your 5-year plan, it's because if the child has been suppressed. You took the crayon away from the child and you gave him a pen. you told them like, hey, stay within the lines, write on the dotted lines, like all those things that they start doing to make us logical. It's the logical goes and gets Christmas presents for everybody. But the child, he's just making his list for Santa. Come on now. I remember I used to write some crazy lists for Santa. If you guys want to laugh, the way I found out there was no Santa Claus, I hope there's no children listening to this, but the way I found out there was no Santa Claus was my parents took me to Walmart and they were like, what presents do you want? And then they put it on layaway. And I was like, wait a second. And layaway is like, well, we gonna pay this at a payment plan. So not only did I see the financial struggle of Christmas, I saw that this was not going to the North Pole. So it's like Christmas was, but my list started changing after that. But honestly, like when I could just think about what do I want? And now that we're adults, we can literally get ourselves whatever we want for Christmas. Like we can buy those things, but instead of a thing, let's do an experience. And instead of waiting on an experience with someone, let's make that experience with us. Like Marilyn, you have children, so just make the experience with your children. I was in a relationship with someone 2 Christmases ago, and it was nice and everything, but I really want to have this relationship. I'm not even in that relationship anymore. So it was great, but it's like, that was good. We spent money on each other. We did our thing and whatnot, but it's like, I'm going to have my inner child with me till the day I die. That little Brandon, and it's so powerful when I say little Brandon, because I've shared with you guys, it used to be very difficult to even look at photos of little Brandon. I wasn't even using the name Brandon. I was using Brandex. Like I was so dissociated from my inner child. It's not even funny. But now, like that inner child wears that robe. I just have the time of my life. I want y'all to have the time of your life this Christmas. And if it's not on Christmas Day, it's at least it's a Christmas gift to yourself. I want the most important gift, even Marilyn, more important than the gifts you get your children, the gift you give your inner child. And I know that's hard. I know it's hard, but you owe your inner child more than you owe your kids. Because if you can really settle in and love Marilyn, the love you express and the way that you will raise your children will be at a way better state. I'm not saying you're a bad mom at all. I'm just saying the more that you connect with that. And the thing is, you could probably, Write this down. You could probably write books on raising children from your as an inner child.
2 people have told me that they saw me writing books, and
I just
I
saw
used to
that.
write. Yeah, I used to write poems when I was little, to express myself because I couldn't really like talk to anybody, so I would write poems. But somebody in my life tore my poems up and they threw it in the sewer. And then after that, it was like I've never written. So when like 2 people told me like, "Oh, I see you writing books," I'm like, like no, what are you talking about? But yeah, I know that I like writing. And then as far as Christmas, I have an advantage that my kids also like the adventure more than the physical. So they'll be cool with going to a cabin too.
Okay. If somebody can write in the comments so Coach Amy can see what we're doing, what we're discussing, if you don't mind. Hey, Coach Amy, someone can write in the comments what we're discussing. That would be great. Let's see next. Elizabeth, what experience can you tap into? How many goats will you have to hang out with on Christmas? No, I'm just kidding.
No, he didn't.
Elizabeth used to work with, you worked with animals in the farm though, right? Like you worked in the fields and
Okay, hold on. It's Texas, so we say ranch. We don't say farm.
ranch. In the ranch. Let's
Yeah,
go.
the ranch. Okay. No, yeah, animals, all kind of animals. Actually, I think for tapping into my inner child, I would do a lot of baking. A lot of baking with music and singing and just acting like a child, you know. That was the funnest times that I remember, so I might have to do that.
And Amy, Gaz just wrote what we're doing about how to give your inner child an experience this Christmas. All right, so baking and putting music on. So did you have an easy bake oven as a kid? Like the fake ones where you would pretend to cook?
No, I didn't. I actually had my grandma. So she was like she baked, she cooked all kind of things, and she cooked for like armies. Like she had this giant pot, right? And she would fill it up and there'd be like, 5 of us. And it's because my parents were always out of the country, so we were with them all the time. And so yeah, I think baking was the best time because we didn't really have cable and we didn't really, it was my grandparents, so we didn't really have like a lot of stuff with them. So they were original. They went through the depression, so it was like we're gonna make ornaments. We used to take Miss Buttersworth, remember the syrups, and we would clothe them and make them like wise men. So it was pretty fun. I think I would do that again.
I love it. So one of your best childhood memories was baking with your grandma. So you're going to reenact that by you baking and taking yourself into that memory. I saw a very powerful Coca-Cola commercial. I think it was for Thanksgiving. And at first I'm like, this Coca-Cola commercial is kind of different because usually Coca-Cola is very like, it's a vibe. It's the polar bear. It's different things. And what it was a man cooking with his mom, right? And then all of a sudden, like the mom's giving him instructions, and everything. Then he goes to the dinner table and you realize his mom had passed away, but it was like a memory of his mom. So while you're cooking with your grandma, it's like you're literally reliving that moment. And that was one of your best, most joyous moments. So that's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love how I'm super like, I'm jumping in with animals and I'm hanging out with whale sharks. Y'all making me look crazy and wild. And you're like, I'm going to cook with grandma. And I'm like, okay, I'm definitely the wild one here. No, but I love that, Elizabeth. And I think it'll be such an amazing healing to do that, because one thing about going back to that inner child is it's before the cynicism. It's before the world told you no. It's before, it was before your imagination was considered silly. It was before saying something made you delusional. I'll never forget one time somebody told me I was delusional and I didn't even know what it meant. And I was like in high school and they're like, you're delusional. And now I'm like, yeah, I have visions and illusions. Like, call me what you want. I don't care. Awesome. So Amy, Coach Amy, how can you, and this is the important fact that we talked about, how can you gift yourself better than you're going to gift your children this Christmas through an experience that will bring back your inner child, that you will be gifting your inner child. And the importance of this is your children gonna grow up, and there's gonna be a season when you're just getting them socks, but you need to always gift your inner child. And I was saying, I'm at the sock season here. There is a y'all laughing, but we at the sock season out here. We got the sock and like maybe the shirt, but we at the sock season. We ain't getting the cool toys anymore. But your inner child's with you till the day you die. And this is important, y'all. I've been talking to somebody who, unfortunately, since this is Detox the Soul, we're going to get deep. This person's daughter just passed away, right? And now they're dedicating their entire life just to their children. And as a guide and a mentor, I tell them, don't do that. That's toxic. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, my kids are my world. And I said, yes, but your kids are going to grow up and they're going to leave the house, and you can make them important. You can make them important, right? But you can't make them the only importance. Why? Because they're going to leave the house eventually. And then you have no idea who you are. And I've been blessed with the opportunity to meet a woman who was 40, who was a grandmother because she had her kids young, and she became an empty nester. And she's like, I have no idea who I am. My whole identity was my children. So this is why it's important to have a healthier relationship and boundaries and respect and love for your inner child than you do for your children. And we just discussed that Marilyn's going to write a book or a poem or something about how to raise your children through your inner child. And maybe Coach Amy is going to be co-authoring with you because she's already co-authoring. Amy's already crushing it. So honestly, y'all, and just imagine that. Imagine if your parents raised you through their inner child. Imagine how they would have been when it came time to choosing your college and your career and allowing you to grow. You see, the thing with inner child work is it's real too. Like, if I don't like you, I just let you know I did not like you. As adults, we're like, oh, I guess I kind of like you. Here's a Christmas present. Like, no, yo, make this the Christmas present. Make this the Christmas that you don't gift the person that you don't want to gift. Like, you can love your enemies, but you don't got to be phony. That's the whole word. So Coach Amy, and you can love your family members too, but you don't got to be phony. So if you got to avoid some family gatherings to heal, do so. Coach Amy, how can you, I love calling you Coach Amy. Amy, what is your last name?
Well, I'm going to be changing it because it's still legally like my divorce name, but I'm going to be changing it to my maiden name. So I'm going with Willette, which is my maiden name.
What is your middle name?
Beth.
Amy Beth?
Yep.
You might want to just chill with those two. That's a pretty name, Amy Beth. That's
yeah,
a name.
Yeah,
because your last name's a little hard to say, but Amy Beth is a very, I don't know about y'all, but Amy Beth sounds beautiful. Like Amy Beth, it's like, oh, right? Y'all feeling the vibe of Amy Beth? And the reason is because Coach Amy, I was just sharing in social media earlier that you want to carry something that you're going to carry to the grave when you're going to brand yourself. So you might want to, you can be a coach, like how I brand X, coach brand, and all those things, but it's not everything, because there's a season when Coach Amy is going to have to show up in just being an author, and she's not Coach Amy, the author. She's Amy Beth, the author. You see? So, and when it's your middle name, you can't go wrong. You don't have to worry about the transition. It's, I mean, it's a beautiful, and if you think about it, it's really your first and second name. That's what they're called, your middle name. So if you have one, I like Amy Beth a lot. I don't know if you've thought about branding that. And this is not a branding call, but
I have. And it's funny that you're mentioning that Brand X, because Brandon, Brand X, I'm still like calling you Brand X. I'm like, you know. But yeah, I just found my notes from our first branding call back in July, and I had misplaced my notebook. I'm like, where is that notebook? I know I have it somewhere. So found it the other day, and I was like going through it, and actually I was typing the notes out on my MacBook from my notes in my notebook. And I was just like, I came to the part where I'd written down my notes of where you were like, we're trying to figure out like what my Instagram,
name.
Thank you. Name was going to be. And I literally thought like of including my middle name, changing it, like Amy Beth. I don't know. I'm still like,
it's funny you did that, because everyone who's here live just saw, that's what I discussed. So y'all see that I'm a broken record when it comes to branding and consulting because there's a science and a strategy to it. I just told them about setting out a name that they're going to carry. So that's so wild. I mean, you'll be able to catch the replay. But so let's get back on target with this experience though, just to respect time. How can you honor, and I thought about something funny, y'all. In Hispanic homes, I don't know about any other homes, but your whole name is said when you're in trouble. Like my mom is like, Brandon Align Cruz. I'm like, er. So you go back to that inner child when you hear your middle name. so Amy Beth, it's such a powerful name. Amy Beth, how can you tap into little Amy? And I feel like little Amy is a whole book in itself, but little Amy joy. So what we did right before you got on here was we did a visualization meditation of seeing little Amy and the most joyous times of her life. And we did a whole other thing too, which you could catch that in the replay. But how can you go into this experience? Actually, I feel like you need to do this. Close your eyes. And this is for anybody who's watching this and didn't feel like they got the connection. I want you to visualize little Amy having the time of her life. Now,
As a 6-year-old?
As a 6-year-old, as little Amy, yes. Now, Coach Amy, who's about to transition to Beth, Amy Beth, walks up to 6-year-old little Amy and tells her, I'm sorry that I dropped the dream. I'm sorry that I stopped believing in you. And then you could say, I love you. And you're going to hug little Amy. And now you and little Amy become one person as you're hugging her.
Mm-hmm.
Now open your eyes. How is little Amy how is Amy Beth, because little Amy's already inside her, how is Amy Beth going to celebrate Christmas to honor Amy?
Can I just play with my cats around my Christmas tree?
If that's what you wanted, was that how you enjoyed Christmas as a child? Like just kind of playing around the Christmas tree?
Pretty much. Yeah. Like I was never really in the kitchen. My mom never really liked baking or cooking or anything like that. So I was just kind of hanging out with my siblings. I'm the oldest of 5 kids. So I can't really do that now. I can't really hang out with my siblings around the Christmas tree now, but I know that we had cats. You know me and cats. And you got your cats too, they're following you. But anyways, yeah.
Yes, I do have cats apparently in the Garden of Eden, because it's called the Garden of Eden out here. But Amy, then what if you just have like a whole pajama day with your kids, and you make it more about experiences, and you play board games, and you hang out with the cats, and like and maybe bring back a game that you would play as a kid. And just kind of really just telling them like, this Christmas, we're going to focus more on the atmosphere than we are focusing on the present, because we're going to focus more being in the present. And then I also encourage you, because your kids are getting older.
Oh, my kids that weeks ago.
What happened?
I already told my kids that like weeks ago. I'm like, you guys aren't going to have much for Christmas this year. Like, it's because it's not about that. It's about creating memories and about doing things together and playing game, like all those things. So
what if you gift them? What if you gift them this workshop in the sense of helping them go back to their 6-year-old self, because they're already like older. They're like in middle school and high school, right? They've dropped the dream. Marilyn was just sharing that someone literally destroyed her poems and she never decided to write again. How old were you, Marilyn, when that happened?
When they were destroyed, or when I started writing?
Well, when they were destroyed.
Oh, I was already 18, 19.
Okay.
So yeah, it was,
But
older.
sometimes the dream is dropped before that, you know?
Yeah.
And also the school system we have today does not cultivate dreams. It cultivates scholastics. And I'll never forget when I was a senior in high school, as I was graduating, they were starting to get rid of chorus. And it was breaking my heart, because I'm like, yo, chorus is what's what cultivated my singing. I ended up I should have known that I'm a singer when I ended up a top singer without ever learning how to read music. I was like drumline. I could hear the music and I was in, but I never learned how. I still can't really read sheet music to this day. But it's the dream. So maybe, Amy, you do this, but also just share with them childhood memories. Go back into that little kid. And I see you guys with like fuzzy slippers and pajamas that match and just hanging out by the tree and just really tapping into that, because you're also blessed to have young kids. So there's still parts of them that can bring back your youth. But yeah, I want you to realize something. You're never too old to experience joy. You know how people are like, oh, aren't you too old for that? That's such a stupid statement. I was reading today in Isaiah 40, it says your wings will be, you'll mount on wings of an eagle. And I just always think of like, as your days, so shall your strength be. And even though your family might be getting you socks for Christmas, you don't have to, you're not too old to give yourself a stocking for Christmas. Like, you're not too old to hang out with the cats and be in pajamas. But the thing is about intentionality. And we're going to start wrapping up with this. Andrea, I'll let you share, and Jay, I'll share what you wrote in your, in the comments here as well. So the most powerful thing in this moment is the intentionality. As a high performance coach, when I tell people rest, it's not only what they're doing, it's the intention of rest. Because so many times we go through a weekend and we're like, oh, I did nothing all weekend. That doesn't make you feel like you're rested. But if you say, I am going to do nothing all weekend and I am going to rest and I am going to relax, doesn't that cause a different shift, as opposed to, oh, I wasn't invited anywhere and I just didn't feel like getting out of bed, as opposed to, I intentionally decided that I'm not going to do much. You see the difference. So when you tell yourself, and I always go into, we live in a spiritual world, so connect with the divine creator if you want to or not, it's up to you. But just saying, I want to really experience the joy of the present, which is the moment. I want to really experience the joy of the day, joy to the world. If you want to be a world changer, you're going to be a joy to the world. But I also want to re-encounter the joy I had as a child. And I really believe you can manifest that because you had it. It's not like I'm saying, bring $1 million into your bank account. I'm just saying, tap back into an experience you already had. Why is it so easy to tap back into a trauma, tap back into the repeat of a trauma? I was just talking to a previous high performance client who was dealing with a divorce that was like just nasty things that had happened. And certain scenes of like, even when they were cheated on and things that they saw, just the memory, the replay that they get because they saw it, and that they shared something about like, oh, and I saw the car in the garage. Like, you see all of it so vividly. Why can't we see all the vivid, great memories? Because our brain very easily wants to go into the negative because we've allowed it to do that, because life and society does that. Life talks more about traumas than it does about an inner child. So intentionally go into Christmas and even the week of Christmas, because I'm starting on the 21st, 22nd, jumping off cliffs into the water, hanging out with whale sharks, like going through the motions. I want to sing Christmas carols, even if I got to get a Santa hat and just go in the middle of a taco. Like, there's this place in Cebu where like everyone's hanging out. I'll go out there and create my own little concert. I don't care. But it's not about other people. It's about me this Christmas. And I need you to say that. Like, it's about me this Christmas. It's been about other people, especially if you moms, it's been about your kids. Wives, it's been about the family. It's been about everybody. Friends, I mean, guys, it's been about your coworkers. Girls, it's been about other people and making sure you got good presents. When was it going to be about you again? Going back and just honor. If you could just do that this Christmas, then all the other ones will be a way more healing factor. And think about it. If you could do that for Christmas, how New Year's will feel. Amy, if you want, you could share that out loud. I see you wrote comments. It's so tiny, I'm not going to read it correctly. If you don't mind.
Yeah, no, I just said we were in our PJs and fuzzy slippers last Christmas, and we will be doing the same thing this year. And it'll be part of our new tradition. And we began also reading a chapter of Luke each day or night up until Christmas Eve together, because there's exactly 24 chapters in Luke. and it's the whole story of, Jesus and, the whole Christmas story. And I have been giving myself my own Christmas stocking the last couple of years because I'm like, I know what I want. I know what I need. I'm just going to have a stocking up there with my kids' stockings. Why not?
So I want you to tap into a deeper memory than just playing with your cats on Christmas, because it's not just your memory of Christmas. It's your memories in general of moments that you don't have to share it now. I mean, you could, but your greatest childhood memory could not just be hanging out with cats around a Christmas tree. I can guarantee you that. I'm sure there's more. There's something there.
It's just hard for me to go back.
Exactly.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
that's the part. It's not that far. It's not that long ago, because your inner child's not that far from you. You see, we just suppress it so much. It may seem like a long time ago, but it's not a long distance. Do you get me? Like it's you. It's not like I'm saying, oh, do you remember what your friend Stephanie in 3rd grade, the bow tie she wore on her hair? No. But then I could say, do you remember at least one of like your pairs of backpacks that you had, the design that it had, or one of your favorite dolls? Like, yeah, you can go back. Maybe you can't remember your teacher, but you could remember like walking through the hallways of what you looked like and all these things. So you don't have to do it here. I mean, you can but I want you, and this is important. That means that there's suppressed emotions that you're not able to tap into great times as Amy, and you have accepted the lie that your entire life was dark and gloom if it wasn't the greatest experience. Because if you're saying it was hanging out in a tree with cats, that could have been a good experience, but that was Christmas. But I'm saying in general, the joyous experience, maybe it was dancing, putting on your favorite music and dancing. It could have been anything. It could have been going to the beach. It could have been, I mean, Gazim is like, I'm going to get out of New York and go sit under some palm trees because it's cold out here and I want to play soccer. So being able to do that. And we also said it doesn't have to be on Christmas Day. It could be a gift you give yourself Christmas Day to do an experience that's going to honor your inner child. So going deeper, and I like that you're having this difficulty, because I'm sure there's other people that are going to be like, you know what, I don't know. Did you rollerblade? Did you ride bicycle as a kid? Did you go to the park?
I like riding my bike, but I also, at around that age, maybe around 7 or 8, I don't remember, but I'm a photographer at heart as well. I love photography, and I remember the 110 camera with the film. So I
Like
always
a Polaroid kind of?
No, like it was like long, it was like a long camera, very, not very, it was like a very thin camera. It was called a 110 camera. I'm going way back here, but I used that camera when I was a kid, and I would take pictures of my cats, my family, and to this day I still take loads of pictures. Like my phone is just loaded with that. So and actually God has been showing me how to get back to doing more of that. Just like if I see something, just pull over to the side of the road and just do it. Or even here at home, like we just got a little bit of snow the other day, and I just love how snow just gives a beautiful white glaze over everything, and it makes everything sparkle with the sun shining, beaming on it, and all the trees and glistening. And anyways, so
nature, capturing nature is what draws you. Okay. And you live in Maine.
Yeah.
Are you able to go outside on Christmas?
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Bundle up.
I think going outside on Christmas would be your healing then, and taking your phone and getting images. And if you can, gather some of your siblings. I know you said if they live in the state, I know you said, oh, they're too old, but you would be healing them too along the way by saying, hey, let's go back and you could say, hey, I have this growth coach and he gave me this assignment, and I think it'd be great if we do this together, but you'll actually be healing their soul. And I laughed when you said the thing about pictures, because I'll never forget, I took my first trip to New York when I was 15, and I took pictures of the sky, but it was like one of the ones that you're supposed to like develop the pictures. And I took I was like 13 or 14. I kept taking pictures of the sky and the clouds, and I took pictures of random stuff. And my grandfather was like, you took pictures of like 10 different clouds that look exactly the same. Like, why would you develop photos of that? And I was like, it's just how it looked. But now I still do it. I still take pictures I take like 100 pictures of the sky, but now it's not like developed film. But there's people that come in and tell us it's foolish. Like, and it's the bitterness of them, the lack of that childlike imagination. And it's not that they're evil. It's just that there's bitterness. There's a cynicism. That's foolish. But as a child, it's like every photo looks different. I could take 5 different photos from different angles and the sun hit it differently, and it looks like that. So Amy, I also believe that if you go around with your camera and here's a social media tip, and start sharing it, just a daily photo, just something beautiful, like just a leaf or something on your page, it's also honoring little Amy. And that is going to be something powerful. And I think I totally forgot the last part of it. Oh, okay. This is the last part as we're closing out. I want you guys, not just on Christmas, but from now on, give yourself a rest day, 24 hours. I give this to all my high performance clients. And I want you, whenever you're going to rest, you rest in your innocence. So rest as little Jay, rest as little Amy, rest as little Andrea, rest as little Marilyn, Elizabeth, Gazim, all of you. Rest as little, okay? I watch superheroes. I literally watch Legends of Tomorrow on Netflix. I watch superheroes. And now that I got my Malone, like I literally rest in my robe, my epic king looking robe that I got going on there. It looks like Joseph, King of Dreams. I rest by sitting at the pool because I used to go to the beach as a little kid. Like I rest in my innocence. But realize this, when you have intentionality attached to what you're doing, it's more powerful. So it's not about, oh, I stumbled across a superhero show. No, I'm going to honor my inner child by watching superheroes. You see the difference? It's like, I'm going to honor my inner child by watching cartoons that I would watch as a kid. Not like, oh, this show is cool. Like I'm going to honor. Why? Because we have dishonored for so long and disconnected. We have disconnected. And I'm going to share with you guys something, because this is a soul class. So you guys also have a spiritual insight. When I had a really big divine intervention, God told me that if we could tap into our inner child, we can connect with him deeper. Why? Because it's the childlike imagination that manifests the promises of heaven and the access to heaven. And I have also learned that the more that I've tapped into my inner child, children are drawn to me. And I want to have safe place homes for children. So I want to be able to connect with them. And I thought about Jesus Christ as a public figure. He would hang out with children. And people would be like, why are you hanging out with children? Like, if you guys can, I know Andrea here works with children. Andrea, what is it you do? You work with, if you want to share?
Last 3 years ago, I assist with the catechist teachers.
So you do an academy with teachers, but with students,
Catechist.
right? With what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Catechist.
That's like, it's in the Catholic Church. You basically are,
Oh,
talking
Catholic.
about.
Got it.
Yeah,
I couldn't
catechist.
understand. And happy birthday, Andrea. We just
Oh, happy
celebrated your
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you so
What?
much.
Y'all
What?
think I thought Andrea was like younger than me. When I found out, she just has good genes, man.
I'm 38.
I know she's 38. I thought she was like
Yeah.
18. Andrea, how you 38? But you know what? You must be, from hanging out with all those children, you're like becoming the child. But it's beautiful. And the beautiful thing about this, Andrea, is that because you hang out with children, you also get the opportunity to remind yourself of what it was like to be a kid. I'm going to end with this. I didn't have a plan to end with this, but I'm going to end with this fact. It is scientifically proven when senior citizens raise children, their Alzheimer's goes away. Why? Because they start healing in the process. But when a senior citizen retires and they stay at home, and since this is detox the soul and inner child work, on my birthday, I visited my grandparents and I realized that every commercial on their TV was a medication commercial. Like if they aren't just sitting in front of a TV and they are just being programmed to be told that they're sick. So when they hang out with a child and they see the resilience, like a child falls, they get back up and they're like, meh, but they get back up, right? They get knocked down, they do things like but they bounce back, and then they're smiling. Kids smile and they run around and they're having joy. It literally heals the soul of an elder. Yeah, life has made us older. Okay, I had a friend one time tell me, they're like, you're not an old man, like you're still a young guy. And I realized that life aged me, professionalism aged me, being professional aged me, and I lost my inner child completely in my dreams. And you just drop it. Logic ages you. Just trying to be this logical person. You can be intelligent but still have an imagination, and let's think about it that way. So if you get an opportunity, or you're around kids, or just even if you're walking through life, this is the thing about intentionality. Now, when you're sitting at a dinner table and you see a kid, analyze their behavior, allow yourself to connect with it. If you're at someone's house for holiday party and they have a kid, connect with that. Just allow yourself to remind yourself that that was a moment in time and it was real. It may seem so long ago, as Amy says, but it's not that long distance. And I had no plan in saying that, but I think it's powerful to realize that it's not a long distance. It may have seemed like a long time ago, but you're not that far from that person. And if you really did that visualization workshop where you hugged them and you became one, that's the first time you realize that it's still one. It's still one. And in the classes to come, we're going to have a hug with the 5-year version of ourselves, because that's going to be one too. Just as real as your past is to your present, your future is to this, because in the beginning, the end is made known. And the reason you have certain desires is because those desires need to happen. The desires come from deeper, it's beyond you. It's because the world is crying out for the change, right? But first, we got to really tap back into who we actually are. And thank you, Marilyn, so much for sharing that transparent moment. Before the world threw your poems away, you were writing poems. Before American Idol audition told me I couldn't sing, I was listening to CDs and writing out lyrics from Casey and JoJo. Literally, I'll never forget. I was sitting in my sister's room, and back then we didn't have that little swipe button. We had to literally restart the song. I would learn a part of the song and have to restart the CD to get back to that part, and restart the CD just so I could write out the lyrics to sing it to myself, because I had no performance. I had no social media. I had no stage. I did it so I could learn it myself. And I was out there and I was like, I would literally write down like, close to me, you're like my mother, close to me, you're like my father, close to me, you're like my sister, close to me, you're like my brother. You are the only one, my everything. And to you, the song I sing. All my life, I pray for someone like you. And I thank God that I finally found you. All my life, I pray for someone like you. So the powerful thing about that, as you guys see, I've been showing up like a singer on social media. That's my inner child singing. Every time you hear me singing, that's my inner child, because the adult version of me said, no, we're just going to model. We're going to keep our voice shut. And yeah, we'll motivate people, but the only time we create sound is to inspire. And then inner child was like, no, we also need to express this sound, because this isn't even just for you. The world has silenced us, and we have allowed it to shut out our inner child. But if we're going to change this world, it's going to happen from our inner child belief system, the power and the imagination of who's already in us. Because your inner child is all in to see you win. But realize this, in your mother's womb, everything, the bones, the fingernails, everything you have today was produced in your mother's womb. So already in your 6-year-old self, you had the intelligence and the success and the ability to produce what you're about to produce in the 5 years that are coming. It was already in you. The same way that in the natural, like, you didn't go get plastic surgery on your fingernails. These are the nails that were produced in your mother's womb. Well, the purpose still stands and the desire still stands. And that concludes our Restoring Childlike Innocence Building with Legos class. I love you.